This is Tom Fox. I'm the Compliance Evangelist, and I would like to welcome you to 1 month to a better board. In this month of February 2017, I'm going to go through and do a series of podcasts talking about making your board more effective. I'm going to start out with the legal requirements that a board has around compliance, move into why a board needs a compliance committee and compliance expertise at the board. I'm going to talk about how the CCO should report to the board and questions that a board compliance committee should ask of a CCO. We're going to take a look at some government guidance and business experience around compliance in the board. We're going to talk about some board failures. We're going to talk about how boards do investigations. We're going to look at boards and internal controls. I'm going to end with a series of specific questions that a board should ask of its chief compliance officer. And on my final day, I will detail 20 questions that every board should ask of its chief compliance officer. Each day, I will give you a short 10-minute or so podcast with 3 key takeaways for that day, and I will accompany each podcast with text that you can use. The 20 questions that I referenced will be provided on the final day of February. This is Tom Fox. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey to 1 month to a more effective board.
Day 13, Board Failures. Today I want to take a little bit different direction as I consider a couple of failures at the board level around bribery and corruption. The first is VimpelCom, clearly one of the top 5 anti-corruption cases across the globe. Multiple allegations of bribery in multiple countries, fines paid to multiple regulators. But I want to focus on a couple of things. So I'm going to go through the facts and then talk about what the board's failures were as laid out in the criminal information. VimpelCom sought to enter the Uzbekistan telecom market through the acquisition of a local player, Unitel. Unitel made clear to VimpelCom that to have access to obtain and retain business in the Uzbeki telecom space, VimpelCom would have to regularly pay a foreign official millions of dollars. Turned out that foreign official was the daughter of the president of Uzbekistan. VimpelCom also acquired another entity, Butzel, which was at least partly owned by the Uzbeki government official who hid her interest through a shell company, yet it was still known to VimpelCom. VimpelCom did not articulate a legitimate business reason for the deal and paid $60 million for Butzel. As laid out in VimpelCom's criminal information, its senior management was well aware of the potential FCPA risk. From the beginning of VimpelCom's deliberations concerning its entry into Uzbekistan, there was an acknowledgement of the serious FCPA risks associated with VimpelCom's management recommendation to purchase Butzel in addition to Unitel. Documents prepared for the 2013-2005 Finance Committee meeting explain that Butzel was owned by a Russian company and a partner without further detailing the identity of the partner. The materials documented through a local partner, VimpelCom was in a preferred position to purchase both assets. The Finance Committee identified the likelihood of corruption and expressed its concerns. Yet even with these reservations, the Finance Committee failed to identify the local partners, including the daughter of the president of Uzbekistan. But there was even more specific caution around an FCPA violation when one Finance Committee member expressed concern on the structure of the deal and FCPA issues and noted that if VimpelCom goes into this deal under this structure and if the structure violates the FCPA, VimpelCom's name could be damaged. The Finance Committee voted to move forward with the Butzel portion of the transaction, provided all issues related to the FCPA should be resolved. These concerns moved up to the VimpelCom Board of Directors. In a later board meeting, there was a discussion of the likelihood of corruption and that there was a recognition that a thorough analysis was needed to ensure that the Butzel payment was not merely a corrupt pretext for services and favors. There were also numerous requests to ensure that the deal complied with the FCPA. Ultimately, VimpelCom's board approved the Butzel and Unitel acquisitions with a condition that the FCPA analysis from an international law firm be provided to the company. Here, the VimpelCom management defrauded its own board of directors, as the information stated. VimpelCom's management then sought FCPA advice that could be used to satisfy the board's requirement for allowing VimpelCom to proceed with a knowingly corrupt deal. Despite the known risk of the foreign officials' involvement in Butzel, certain VimpelCom management obtained FCPA legal opinions from an international law firm supporting the acquisition of Unitel and Butzel. However, certain VimpelCom management did not disclose to the law firm the foreign officials' known association with Butzel. As a result, the legal opinion did not address the critical issues identified by VimpelCom and the board as a prerequisite to the acquisition. Management limited the law firm's FCPA review of the transaction to ensure the legal opinion would be favorable. Having obtained a limited legal opinion designed to ostensibly satisfy the board's requirement, certain VimpelCom management then proceeded with the Butzel acquisition and corrupt entry into the Uzbek market. So you see a couple of different problems or lack of actions by the board. The first one was that the board had information that indicated that FCPA issues were paramount and it was high risk, and the board did not independently take action to review those. The second was the information presented to the board by management was clearly fraudulent, and once again the board failed to do any independent review or analysis. But there was a second issue which touched on the VimpelCom board, and that was a fraudulent stock transfer. VimpelCom entered into a partnership with the daughter of the president of Uzbekistan, who was given an ownership interest in Unitel through a shell corporation. The shell corporation had an option to sell its interest back to VimpelCom in 2009. This owner, the daughter, was well known within VimpelCom and Unitel, as both entities referred to her as the partner or the local partner. VimpelCom set up a partnership where the shell company obtained an indirect interest of approximately 7% in Unitel for $20 million, and the shell company received an option to sell its shares back for $57 million, so that there was a guaranteed profit of $37.5 million. VimpelCom's board was required to and did approve this partnership, but as with the original acquisition, approval again was conditioned on the FCPA analysis by the international law firm and required that the identity of the partner be presented to and approved by the Finance Committee. VimpelCom received an FCPA opinion on the sale of the indirect interest in the Unitel Shell Corporation on or about August 26, 2006. The FCPA advice VimpelCom received was not based on an important detail which is known to certain VimpelCom management and that management failed to provide to outside counsel regarding the president's daughter's control of the Shell Corporation. It also failed to identify the true identity of the local partner. Obviously, this option was exercised, and the daughter of the president received a $37.5 million profit. A second company was the Tulsa-based BizJet, which had 4 senior executives convicted for their participation in a bribery scheme. But this case also involved the board of directors. In its criminal information, they stated in 2009 at a board of directors meeting, Executive A and B discussed with the board the decision of where aircraft is sent for maintenance work is generally made by the potential customer's director of maintenance or chief pilot, and these individuals were demanding $30,000 to $40,000 in commissions, and BizJet would have to pay referral fees to gain market share. And this was done. So you see some pretty good examples of failures of the board, which lead to our 3 key takeaways today. Number 1, Board liability can be severe based upon similar conduct going forward. Obviously, the VimpelCom matter coming in at $765 million, and I think number 3 on the top list of global enforcement actions is something that is severe, and it cost the company quite a bit of money. But in BizJet, we had 4 individuals personally convicted of FCPA violations, and the top 2 executives in the company went to jail. So if the board had exercised its conduct going forward, that might not have happened. And we will shortly be seeing, when the Department of Justice has the appropriate case, actual board liability. Number 2, board members must critically challenge management on its conduct. The reason I went into the facts in such detail in VimpelCom was that the board simply accepted management's answers in terms of legal opinions. And the board did not seek separate or its own independent legal counsel. And this is something that the Department of Justice had made clear you must stop, or you must do going forward. And finally, these 2 cases emphasize the board is the ultimate backstop against bribery and corruption. And we had complete, total, and utter failure by boards, both of the boards of these companies. This is Tom Fox. Thank you very much for joining me on day 13 to 1 month to a better board, and I hope you will join me tomorrow for day 14.
This is Tom Fox. Thank you for joining for today's episode of 30 Days to a Better Board. This series is based on my seminal work, Doing Compliance, Design, Create, and Implement an Effective Compliance Program. It's available from Compliance Week, and you can check it out on their website, complianceweek.com. I hope you will join me tomorrow for another episode.